Hi, this is Drew Tignanelli. This is our November update, and
An important one, Drew.
You all know that President Obama has now been reelected to a second term, and many people are wondering, well, what does this mean for the market? And the answer is nothing, really. That politicians don't have a lot of impact on the market. They do when they pass a legislation.
Sure.
Of some sort, but you have three branches of government. You have the House, the Senate, and the executive, and then you have the Supreme Court behind that.
Yeah,
so,
right.
it's not like even if President Obama had some wild economic ideas that could destroy the economy, there's no assurance that he'd ever get them through.
Sure, and oftentimes...
He tried in the first semester, in my opinion.
First semester?
His first term.
Yeah. Well, and oftentimes, isn't it true, Drew, that whatever they do, good or bad, it may take years for it to come to fruition anyway?
Absolutely. Look, President Reagan probably passed some of the best economic policy this country
I'm surprised to hear you say that.
ever seen. But the market went down over 35% for the year and a half after he was elected.
Sure.
So, you can't sit back and think that the politicians... Now, Bernanke makes a difference.
Sure.
And 2 years from now, 2014, he's up for re-election. And, if he were to be taken out of office and replaced by somebody else and the perception of investors were different,
sure,
that could be devastating.
Sure,
just the thought of a new central banker could devastate markets for a period of time. Presidents, even the worst economic presidents, which I personally believe that this president is probably one of the most illiterate economic presidents I've ever seen. That's my own personal opinion.
No,
and I share that very freely.
For a minute, I was afraid that we weren't going to have any true commentary here, Drew. I'm thankful now.
No, you look at why is the economy so slow, and in my opinion, the economy slow is because they're regurgitating a lot of economic policy that's been passed. Affordable Care Act, Dodd-Frank, et cetera, et cetera. So you've got two forces going together that's really affecting the economy on a slowing, but yet the market is up over the last year or so. One of the reasons is that it was down so much before.
Sure.
So you don't get all excited when you see presidents and so forth. That's my.
Regardless of which way it goes.
Yeah, regardless of which way it went, it didn't matter. It's going to be the same thing. So. You still have the issues out there. You still have the U.S. has to address its spending. You can't spend $1 trillion some every year. We've borrowed, in the last 12 years. So let's just throw Democrats and Republicans in together. Bush and Obama have spent like 3 or 4 times what every president before them in the debt, in the sense of accumulation of debt.
Sure.
Bush, I think, doubled the debt of all the presidents before him, and President Obama has better than doubled the debt before that. So it's just an unbelievable amount of debt that we've brought on in the last few years, and we have to address it, and it's going to hurt when they ultimately address it. Bernanke's manipulating interest rates. You can't do that forever. Markets are not going to allow you to do that forever.
And savers are punished as a result.
Savers have been punished dramatically. We have plenty of clients that like to put a lot of money in CDs and just click the CD, knowing that it's a very safe. They can't do that today. They have to go out and take risk. And you still have Europe out there. It's still a mess, and there's a lot of concern over the Greek vote that's coming up, whether they're going to be able to secure aid.
Right.
Italy and Spain are going into a depression that will equal that of the Great Depression of the 1930s.
Wow. No way that doesn't have an impact on us somehow.
It has to have an impact. So. Sooner or later, this economy is improving. We got this dichotomy going. So the U.S. economy has some improvement going.
Right.
But it's not perfect in any way, shape, or form. Banks have a ton of money they can lend, but they're just not lending it very much, very freely. And so that's a real problem. So you have to remain cautious. You got to keep a little bit in, and you got to stay cautious also all at the same time.
Well, Drew, wait till the media gets a hold of this particular video and learns that presidents really don't have much of a difference in the economy. They're not going to have anything to talk about the next couple weeks.
Well, that is true, but that's the way it is.
Drew, now one of the pieces of news that really almost overshadowed the election was Hurricane Sandy, and so many people are still in enduring pain and having struggles, especially in New Jersey, New York. And a lot of people felt some of that here in the Baltimore region as well. What are some of the things that people need to be aware of before the next storm comes? Now they don't have to worry about it, but what about before the next storm comes?
Well, when the clouds are not around, the dark clouds, let's put it, the storm,
right?
And when things are blue sky, you need to be out there making sure that your insurances are properly lined up. You need to make sure, how does your homeowner's policy work? How does flood insurance cooperate with homeowners insurance? Right. Most people don't realize that if you have water rushing in and it's coming from a flood, and the way that insurance companies define flood is different than what you and I might think of as a flood, you're not covered. You're going to find out that you're not covered.
Yep.
And so you need to have flood insurance if you're worried about that. And that's including, like, let's say you get a lot of water and it starts flowing toward your house, and then it flows into your basement through your window cell, or something. Yeah, I know. It happens to a lot of people, and it's not covered.
Yeah.
It's not part. Now, let's say that the wind blows so hard that it pushes your shingles up and the water penetrates through and comes down and drips into your house and so forth and causes flooding of some sort. That would be covered because it was the wind pushing it in. But this is where it gets real complicated. When you hear these stories of people not being able to settle their claims because the insurance companies are saying, no. It's because they're debating whether was it the flood or was it the wind. Like, take, for example, down at the shore. You get this wind comes in and hits the water and pushes the water toward your house in a surge that then causes a damage to the house. Was it the wind or was it the water? Yeah. And there's where the debates get going.
And the insurance company has an economic bias. I mean,
the insurance
their
company
profit is not making that claim.
But the best way to handle that is to have both flood insurance and homeowners insurance.
So that there's no argument.
Yeah, so that you've got both bases covered. Now, flood insurance isn't perfect, though. A lot of flood insurance is run by the government, and it's not perfect, and it's costly. And you make one claim, your cost of your flood insurance is going to probably go dramatically higher. So you need to think these things out. And this is our point. The point is that our clients get all comprehensive financial advice along with their investment management. Sure. It's included in it. So, they should take advantage of every part of their personal finances, be it estate planning or income taxes or company benefits or insurances, no matter what the insurance is. One that we get a lot of calls on, but we don't sometimes also get a lot of calls on, is Medicare. There are a lot of people out there making Medicare decisions, clients of ours, making Medicare decisions, and they don't realize that we can help them with that. We're experts in that area.
About supplemental and
Medigap insurance, Medicare B, Medicare D. We can help with all that kind of stuff. Your homeowner's insurance. And another thing is if you have wiped out your household possessions, we strongly recommend that you videotape or picture all of the stuff in your house and
like
put
a home
it up
inventory.
To a home inventory and put it up in the clouds, as we call it, on a website called knowyourstuff.org.
Yeah.
There are a couple others also. They're free. You just put them up there, and you just go to your agent, your adjuster, and say, "Hey, here's my stuff.
Yeah.
Take a look at it, and then
it makes your
figure
insurance
out,
more valuable.
Yeah, you'll get what you deserve, as opposed to the insurance company say, well, we can't really prove what you have, and so therefore this is the max we're going to give you.
Yep.
And so knowyourstuff.org. Anyway, those are some important issues that you should know, that you do get all comprehensive financial advice with your services with the Financial Consulate. So take advantage of it. And this is our November update. This is Drew Tignanelli saying God bless.